Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I think we can just let everybody in, Jonty. Welcome, everybody, to Q&A with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs and Rebecca Kozak and Jonty McCollier. And I love the fact that we are coming together to address health and how you can run a successful wellness business without having a degree. And Pharmacist Ben is here to help us with the health side of it in business, of course, because he's like ultimate businessman. And then we've got Jonty, who's here, and he will be able to answer some questions in regards to building a business online as well. So I am super excited to get started here. I hope everybody else is as well. And I have my friend Lance here. He's going to help with co-hosting and letting people in. So yeah, without further ado, Pharmacist Ben.
Hey.
Thank you so much for joining us here on this monthly meeting. I know we had talked about doing it every second meeting, and it just didn't work out for any of us. But we are here today. Did I say Wednesday?
No.
Oh my God. Did I say Saturday? All right. It's Saturday, everybody. And this replay will be available if you go to the Critical Health News YouTube channel. You'll find the replay. Is that correct, Jonty? I want to make sure I've got everything.
That's correct. I think the thing to do is to send people to criticalhealthnews.com. That probably makes the most sense. You'll find it on there. Little drop-down menu. It's under Ben Fuchs's videos. Not the Moments of Truth, the other ones, Bright Bites.
The Bright Bites. All right, fantastic. Fantastic. And make sure that you sign up for the newsletter there too. Great information to help build your knowledge base that you'll then be able to pass that information on to your family and friends. But make sure that you say, hey, if you have any questions, get back with me if you want to order any products. So, Pharmacist Ben, we have a ton of questions. And for the people who are here with us, if you would like to ask a question, find the option to raise your hand in the Zoom menu options, because we are going to be going back and forth between questions of emailed in and questions of the people that are on live with us. And let's go ahead and get started. So, but first, I mean, Pharmacist Ben, you come from a very it's
careful, Rebecca.
I know. You come from a very unique position.
Yes.
In the fact that you wanted to help people, you went to school to become a pharmacist, and what you learned and discovered was not quite what you were aiming for.
Right. I went to school. Well, I was fascinated with food. That was my whole thing. I wanted to study how food affected the body. And it always struck me as really fascinating that you could eat food and change your body. I mean, we take that for granted, that our body is made up of our food, but that's kind of that's sort of a miraculous thing. Your arm is made up of yesterday's lunch. How does that happen? Right? Let me try and get here. Hang on a second. How does that happen? That our bodies the food we eat get converted into our bodies. I thought that was very fascinating. And I wanted to study the medicinal and healing properties of foods, how foods affect the body from a medicinal and a therapeutic and a healing standpoint. I was an athlete, and I knew about food and I knew about nutrition back before it was kind of a fad. In the 1970s and 1980s, we were always focused on our food and our nutrition. I needed to make some money. I had a journalism degree, and I was waiting on tables and bagging groceries and doing landscaping. And I said, I can't do this forever. So I figured I would go to pharmacy school, because I thought in my mind as a kid, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought pharmacists would be the people who would study pharmacy would be a skill set that would allow you to study how the molecules in foods would affect your body. And turns out that was not true at all. And I know I've told the story before, but when I went in for my introduction to the dean, they always want to talk to you before you go start your first day of school, in pharmacy school. I told him this, and I'll never forget. He just laughed like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. It was like a belly laugh when I told him that. And he said, no, we don't do that. We sell drugs. We study drugs. And I was like, all right, I heard pharmacists made a lot of money. So I was already there. And so I just stuck with it. And sure enough, we study toxicity, we study side effects, we study how you mitigate side effects, how you get patients to take drugs. Believe it or not, compliance is a big problem. People inherently know there's a problem with their drugs. Even people who take a lot of drugs, there's something in the back of our minds that says this isn't right. And in fact, if you take your prescription pill and you take it and raise it to your mouth really slowly, you're very sensitive to the energy, you'll feel a subtle resistance to taking that pill. There's something inside us that knows that this is wrong. And I knew it was wrong, and I stuck with it. I'm kind of glad I did, because one thing we learned in pharmacy school is about biochemistry. We learn a lot about biochemistry. And another thing we learn in pharmacy school, which people don't realize, is we study nutrition as if, from the pharmacist point of view, we study the nutritional or the therapeutic aspects of nutrients. We study vitamin C as a anti-scurvy or a connective tissue building supplement. We study the B complex as nutrients that help support the energy of cells. We study diseases as if they're nutritional deficiencies. We study eczema as if it's an essential fatty acid deficiency. We study night blindness as if it's a vitamin A deficiency. We study diabetes as if it was a chromium deficiency. So I kind of got a background in nutrition in the sense that I learned about the pharmaceutical aspects of nutrients. And so when I graduated pharmacy school, I thought to myself, why are we focusing on the toxic drugs when we could be focusing on the nutrients, which number one are non-toxic, and number two, whose deficiencies are the real causes, or at least fundamental causes, basic causes of diseases. So I made it my mission to use nutrients where other pharmacists were using drugs. And I started in the pharmacy setting, recommending nutritional supplements. This was the 1980s. This was when you were a health nut, when you were like really a radical person if you were talking about using nutrients. And I started suggesting to my patients that they would take essential fatty acids for their skin problems, or vitamin A for their acne, or zinc for their acne, or vitamin C for their colds, etc. And people were getting better. People were actually responding in a positive way. And at first I was suggesting people take nutrients with their medication. And then when I saw the results people were getting, I started telling people not to take their medication and to take nutrients. And, long story short, I ended up getting fired. Kmart Pharmacy wasn't really thrilled with Pharmacist Ben. And so I just started my own business, and today, 40 years later or 35 years later, I'm doing the same thing. So I did, to answer your question, yes, I started out because I wanted to help people understand food as medicine. Basically, in between that, it's kind of like the hero's journey. You start out with a mission, then you go through a journey, and then you finally come out the other end. In between, I had to fight battles with Kmart Pharmacy and Albertsons Pharmacy for being radical, and I came out the other end lecturing and talking and formulating and helping people understand how to use nutrients. I'm telling you, I don't know. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, so it's. I wish I could tell everybody, I wish I could stand up on a soapbox and say that when you start supplementing, when you start a nutritional supplement program, if you do it strategically and you do it correctly, and those are two key words, strategically and correctly, there's no way that you will not get benefits. There is absolutely no way that you will not improve your health if you're on a nutritional program that's strategic and it's correct. Now, where we run into issues is where people don't do it strategically. They just kind of throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. They'll just take a whole bunch of different supplements. They don't know what they're taking. There's no strategy to it. And then they run into issues either with them not working, they don't get any benefits, or even worse, they get some kind of I don't say toxic reaction, but a reaction they're not looking for, a reaction that they don't want. So they may get bloating, or they may get a digestive discomfort, or perhaps a skin problem. So nutritional supplementation is guaranteed to work if you do it correctly. But if you don't do it correctly, you're not going to get the benefits. One of the beautiful things about longevity, one of the coolest things about longevity, is Dr. Wallach and all the folks who formulate the products, in addition to Dr. Wallach, Richard Retton, and a few other folks who do it, have put it together so it's simple to do it correctly. So it's simple to do it strategically. And this is why across the board, if you do the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and I don't even, we have 2,000 products. I don't talk about 2,000 products. I talk about 5 or 10 products. You can do all the other ones, but you don't need 2,000 products in order to experience the benefits. There's no way that you will not feel better if you haven't supplemented before. I'll tell you what I mean by that in a second. If you haven't supplemented before, there's no way you can take the Beyond Tangy Tangerine the way I tell you to take it, taking it correctly, and not notice health benefits. It's not possible. And when I say if you haven't supplemented before, what I mean is the people who will get the most benefits are the people who have never supplemented, who have never experienced it, which is still the vast majority of people. People on this call are not the vast majority of people. We're all hip to supplementation, but most people aren't. Now, if you're already in the world of supplementation, you're already in the world of health, you already understand something about nutrition, believe it or not, you're not going to get the same benefits that somebody who's never supplemented will. A dry sponge sucks up more water than a wet sponge. Somebody who's never supplemented before is like a dry sponge. And once they put the Beyond Tangy Tangerine in their system, essential fatty acids in their system, the Osteomag or OsteoFX into their system, there's no way that they're not going to notice the benefit. And that's so cool because not only are we in the business of helping provide those basic building blocks to people who've never experienced them before, and not only are we going to be able to experience ourselves how good it feels to help change somebody's life, but you can build a business around it. You can build a home-based business around changing people's lives at the most fundamental level. You can build a home-based business around helping people get off their medication. You can build a home-based business around helping people lose weight. You can build a home-based business around helping people feel better. You can build a home-based business based on you being a hero to people. You will be a hero. And everybody who's on this call who's experienced what it's like to give somebody a nutritional supplement like the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and have them change their lives knows what I'm talking about. You will be, the experience of being that person in somebody else's life is indescribable, and you're building a business around that. How cool is that? It's not difficult. You said, Rebecca, you said something really interesting. You don't need a degree. You don't need a degree to understand this. We have become so convinced that the medical paradigm of health is this deified, godly system that is only available to a highly educated and specialized few people. And if you've achieved this status, if you climb the mountain of the medical model high enough, you're almost like a god. And we position it that way. We've been told that that's the way it is. And so we feel like we're just humble little people. I'm not a doctor. I can't say that. Well, what did the doctor say? And then conversely, we're always shocked when doctors do something silly because they're gods. How could they possibly have missed this? How could they possibly have made a mistake? It is so simple that it's almost too simple.
We complicate it.
What we overcomplicate it. All you need to do here, this is simple. This is as basic as you can get. Take the bad stuff out, put the good stuff in. It's as simple as that. Take the bad stuff out, put the good stuff in. Unfortunately, we have a world where we're saturated with the bad stuff. We are saturated. We're swimming in it like a fish swims in water. We breathe the bad stuff. We drink the bad stuff. We eat the bad stuff. Oh my God, I was at the airport 2 days ago. The lines for Egg McMuffins at McDonald's at 6 o'clock in the morning, they wrapped around the concourse. And everybody's screaming about immunity and vaccines and COVID, and everybody's sick and masks and this and that. But the lines at McDonald's are longer. They're not even short. They're longer than they've ever been before. How can we possibly be healthy under conditions like this? That's the bad news. The good news is you just stop doing it. Now you say, well, I love my McDonald's. I can't. No, you don't love your McDonald's. You love salt, you love sweets, and you love fat. That's what we love. Try tasting a McDonald's hamburger with no salt, no sweets, no sugar in the bread, and no fat. You think that would be good for you? You think you'd like that? Try tasting a McDonald's fries with no oil and no sugar. Believe it or not, they put sugar in there. No oil, no sugar, and no salt. You won't eat the French fries. We like oil, we like sugar, and we like fat. And there's reasons for that because the body needs those things. It doesn't need fried oil. It doesn't need sugar, glucose. It doesn't need simple sugars. It needs complex sugars, and it doesn't need table salt. It doesn't need Morton's table salt. It needs minerals. So you give the body minerals. You give the body the polysaccharides and the complex carbohydrates. You give the body the good fats that it needs, the essential fatty acids, and you're not going to want the McDonald's. It's not going to be like you have to struggle. You're just not going to want it. And that's what happens once you get on a nutritional supplement program, is you don't want the bad stuff. And that's what we're trying to,
And that's,
it's really as simple as that. When we say out with the bad and in with the good, it's really as simple as when you put the good stuff in, you're not going to want the bad stuff. Go ahead, Rebecca.
well, and that's absolutely true, Ben. I just came off a 4,500 mile road trip, and going in and looking at all of this packaged food, it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
no, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. And, you know, when you have that good foods, bad foods list, and you've got the nutrients going in your body, it's so much easier to make better choices.
It's easier to make. Here's where it becomes tricky, Rebecca, and for everybody listening. People are very sensitive about their food. So you don't want to be that person that rags on somebody about their food. You don't want to be that person that judges somebody about their food. Nobody wants to be judged about the food they're eating. But what you can do is you can say, if you're not feeling as good as you want to feel, there's an option here. If you're not as healthy as you want to be, or as you think you should be, you have a choice. There's a way to do it. You don't have to feel like there's nothing I can do. I have to interact with a medical model. I have to get prescription drugs. I have this arthritis. I have no other choice. I have to be on anti-inflammatories. I have to be on pain medication. So you don't want to be, it's very subtle, because you don't want to be in the position of judging anybody. People get to make their own decisions, and food is very personal, and people are very sensitive about the foods they're eating, and you don't want to be judging anybody about the foods they're eating. That's an awful thing to do to anybody, and it's not going to be taken, looked upon kindly. People are not going to appreciate when they're eating their McDonald's hamburger and you're judging them for it. But what you can say is, if somebody has diabetes, this is shocking. I know to people listening, it's always shocking to me. People don't know that the food is related to the diabetes. And diabetes is the #1 killer, the #1 cause of misery. I don't mean diabetes. I should take that back. Dysglycemia. Okay, dysglycemia is a fancy way of saying messed up blood sugar. Diabetes is an official diagnosis. I'm not talking about the official diagnosis, because people can have messed up blood sugar that leads to disease states without being diagnosed as a diabetic. That's a very important distinction. We don't want to, I have this saying that I talk about on the Bright Side on my radio program. I say, your diagnosis doesn't matter. We become our diagnosis. The science of diagnosis represented a really great advance in the 16th and 17th centuries. When before we had diagnosis, we thought that people got sick because elves shot little arrows at you, or because of evil clouds in the air, miasmas in the air. So when they came up with diagnosis, that represented a great advance. Today, we are slaves to our diagnoses. And that puts us in a position of not understanding how our bodies are working, because a diagnosis is just a word, and you can't treat a word. A word is just a description. So somebody tells you have fibromyalgia. I know I've talked about this before. That just means you have muscle pain. That doesn't tell you anything about the disease state. Diabetes is just a word. It doesn't tell you anything, but dysglycemia tells you that your blood sugar is messed up. And that is the #1 cause of cancer. It's the #1 cause of autoimmunity. It's the #1 cause of obesity. It's the #1 cause of mortality in general, is dysglycemia. And to this day, to this 2:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on October 16th, 2021, most people do not know that there is a relationship between their illnesses and their blood sugar. And their blood sugar is intimately connected with their foods. There's only 2 reasons why blood sugar gets messed up. #1 is stress, and #2 is food. And because food is a major cause of stress, even stress itself is related to food. So there are psychological stresses that can change your blood sugar too. But for the most part, it's the foods we're eating. And that's what you want to say to people. You don't want to say, don't eat the French fries, don't eat the hamburger. You say, look, if you want to lose weight, if you want to drop your blood pressure, if you want your skin to look better, if you want to extend your life, if you want to reduce inflammation in your body, there's a way. We want to represent ourselves not as judges, but as solution givers, as problem solvers. We are here to solve the problem of health, and it's not complicated, and it's not medical. And you don't need to feel overwhelmed or less than or incompetent when it comes to helping people change their health because you don't have a medical degree. You can change their health as good as or even better than somebody who has a medical degree by simply understanding a few basic mechanisms. And that's the main message that I have. And that, I think that's the main message that's one of the main messages that Longevity delivers is you can do this. Everybody on this call can do this. And everybody who's sick can do it themselves as well. I mean, they don't necessarily need us, but they're in a position where they don't know. So we can be the ones who tell them. We can be the ones who open that door for them, who open their eyes for them. Is that
and I love that. So my question, and this is something that we get a lot. Oh, well, my grandmother and my mother and my great grandfather, they all had this. It doesn't matter what I eat. I'm going to get it anyway.
Well, look, if somebody is saying that, I'm not going to be the one to tell them not. Let them believe what they want to believe. But if somebody comes to me and says, my mother had, my grandmother had, do I still have to have it? Then I'll talk to them. But I don't talk to people who know. You know, Mark Twain said, it ain't what you don't know that'll hurt you. It ain't what you don't know that hurts you. It's what you know that ain't so. You know, we have this idea, we have these I don't talk to anybody who knows what's right. You know, if they know what's right, they're entitled to their opinion. But when somebody asks you, you know, my grandmother had this, my mother had this, it's in my family. Do I have to have diabetes? I'll tell them the whole story. You notice when I answer questions, I always talk about the mechanism. You know, I always explain how it happens so that you can see for yourself how this whole process of disease is taking place. And that's really important. That's what we want to do. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. We all live in bodies. What is more intimate to us than our bodies? Nothing. This is the closest it gets to us. It is us. So to help somebody understand how their body works and help them understand why vitamin C is important, why the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is important, why nutritional supplementation and good lifestyle strategies like exercise and breathing and relaxation and meditation, all things we talk about are important. That is the coolest thing anybody can do. I mean, to see somebody's eyes light up and they finally understand why their knees hurt or why they keep breaking out or why they keep getting cold sores or why they have psoriasis, that is the coolest thing you could do for somebody. And that's why I always I never want anybody to do what I tell them to do. I want them to do it because they want to do it, because they understand why they're doing it. And that's why I always give mechanisms, not to mention that it's very fascinating, very interesting. It's the most helpful thing you can do. And everything has a mechanism. Nothing appears on the body spontaneously. You know, to this day, the medical models, and you notice I say the medical models, not doctors per se. It's not the individual doctors. We don't want to blame individual doctors. They're good people. I know I have a lot of friends who are physicians. They are trained to alleviate suffering. It's not about blaming physicians. This is about the model, the paradigm. To this day, they will say that there's no known cause for eczema. They call these things with no known cause idiopathic. How can there be no cause for something? There's no known cause for psoriasis, for autoimmune diseases. How can this be? You have a body. The only thing that can go wrong with the body has to be some kind of interaction from the outside. There's something that's coming in from the outside. The body is a closed system, and it's going to run forever on its own with a couple of portals. It's like in physics, we have open systems and closed systems. A closed system runs forever on its own. The body's a closed system, but it has a couple of portals. So where are those portals? The nose is one portal, how you breathe. There's a kind of a portal through the skin, a very, very tiny one. But for the most part, what's the biggest portal that can interrupt the closed system? Hello, food. You know, I'm not Mr. Organic Guy. I'm not, you know, David Avocado Wolf, and you got to eat all the right food. That's not me. You know, I'm just saying, if you're sick, you got a closed system here. There's a portal that's getting into the system. It's as simple as that. So let's do some questions and let's talk about how this thing is all put together in a specific way.
All right, sounds good.
Right.
Well,
So if we have
first
questions,
hand that we have up. I'm sorry.
Let's take a question here first, and then we'll do one from the last
our
call.
list.
We'll go back and forth.
All right, sounds good. Kitty, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi, Kitty.
You are on live with Pharmacist Ben.
Hi, Pharmacist Ben. I am.
Hello, Kitty.
I've been taking longevity products now for quite a while, at least a couple of years.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's a way to resolve this or not, but I live in Sacramento, and we had some really strong winds here a few days ago. And ever since then, my allergies, I've had allergies just driving me up the wall, especially my eyes. My eyes just constantly burn. And I don't know what's causing it, because I've been checking the pollen counts and they look like they're pretty low.
But you could be allergic to all kinds of stuff. You have runny nose and eyes, like your eyes are red and all that stuff, all the classic allergy things.
Yes.
Okay, so let's answer Kitty's question. Then this will be appropriate for anybody else who has allergies themselves, or as a client or family member, friend, or loved one who has allergies. So, allergies are part of the immune system. They're a hyperactive response. The immune system is really jumpy. So where does the immune system live in the body? It lives largely in the intestine for the most part. So whenever you have somebody who's dealing with allergies, you want to focus on intestinal health. And that means, number one, what you're putting in your system, and number two, what you're not putting in your system. What you're putting in your system that you shouldn't be, and what you're not putting in your system that you should. So obviously there's the whole food connection, Kitty, and I'm not, you probably, if you've heard me talk, I don't want to bore you with it, but you want to look for foods. Do you have any digestive health issues that you know of?
No.
Okay, so look to the food issue probably isn't, but just because you don't, that's another very important point. A lot of our digestive issues go under the radar and we don't notice them. I'm not saying this is true for you, Kitty, but just for people who have clients who have, sometimes clients who say, I don't have any digestive issues. We don't talk to each other about our bowel movements. So we don't really have a criteria. We don't have a reference range for what's good and what's bad. Also, if we've had a digestive health issue for a long period of time, like our whole lives, and many people have, they're normal. They become normalized. So they don't stand out as being noticeable. I'm not saying this is you, Kitty, by the way. I'm just saying this is for people who have immune issues, or who have who have health issues and they think that their digestive system's okay. As far as you go, Kitty, we'll just assume that you don't have any digestive health issues, and we'll work with that. Get yourself on the Nightly Essence probiotics. Are you already on those? The Nightly Essence probiotics? Get yourself.
Well, I did try them out, and it was too strong for me.
How is it too strong?
It gave me diarrhea really bad.
Okay, well, that's not too strong. That sounds like you have an imbalance in your intestine. So that's not a matter of strength. That sounds like something's going on in the intestine. So that's why I say there could be something going on in the intestine. You shouldn't have diarrhea from probiotics. Although I will say sometimes probiotics can cause some headish, some fuzziness in the head. And there are chemicals that are produced by these bacteria that can change the way your neurology, your nervous system. So a lot of times people complain about dizziness or headaches and these kinds of things from certain probiotics, and that can happen. That's telling me, by the way, Kitty, that there is something going on in the digestive system. Nonetheless, start off with, if you can't take the Nightly Essence probiotics, find a probiotic that you can take, or start using fermented foods. If you're not taking a probiotic supplement, the chances are pretty good that you're going to have some kind of dysbiosis. Dys means messed up. Biosis means bacteria or biology, actually, but in this case, it means messed up gut bacteria. Dysbiosis is inevitable in our culture because of the food we eat and the water we drink. Basically, water has chlorine in it. Even if you're not drinking tap water, if you're drinking orange juice, or you're drinking soda pop, or you're drinking anything off the shelf, or even food is watered with chlorinated. Our apples and our oranges and our crops are all watered with chlorinated water. All the water in the farmers use. They don't use distilled water when they're watering their plants. So we're all subject to assaults on our natural gut flora. And if you're not supplementing with a probiotic supplement, or paying close attention to eating fermented foods and bacteria-rich foods, it's almost impossible not to have some degree of dysbiosis. So you got to work on that level for sure. Secondly, one of the all-time great, underappreciated at the same time, antihistamine. Histamine is a chemical that's produced when you have allergies. Kitty, all those allergic reactions are caused by histamine. Histamine is a chemical that is released when when the immune system is activated when you have an allergic response. So antihistamine protects you from allergic responses. One of the all-time great, and at the same time underappreciated, antihistaminic nutrients or substances is vitamin C. So make sure that you're supplementing with vitamin C. There is some in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. We also have a vitamin C product. I think it's called the Ultimate C. Rebecca, help me. It's called the Ultimate C, right? So get
we have vitamin, we have CFX.
yeah,
is one,
CFX.
and there's
CFX. That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, the CFX. And also, you may have heard of this because it's been in the news lately, last year or so. There's a wonderful flavonoid. Flavonoids are plant nutrients that are said to be adaptogens. Have you ever heard the term adaptogen? An adaptogen is a chemical that's made by a plant that helps your body adjust or adapt to the environment. And one of the great adaptogens for the immune system is something called quercetin, Quercetin, and that might be it might be in the CFX, in the vitamin CFX, and if it's not, it's in a couple other longevity products. You'll have to help me with that, Rebecca. Quercetin. What's that?
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, quercetin is also. Hang on a second here. Quercetin is also a great antihistamine, and it works very well with vitamin C. Now you can also get vitamin C and quercetin from plants, from onions and garlic and citrus fruits. Papaya has quercetin and vitamin C in it. So you can get quercetin from produce, and that's another place to get, and vitamin C from produce. So that's another place to get it. But I'd be supplementing with vitamin C and quercetin for allergy. So 3 things to focus on as far as supplements: probiotics, vitamin C, quercetin, but work on the gut and work on digestive health. That's also very important. Consider your allergies to be an immune problem. Consider an immune problem to be a digestive problem always. And that's true about all immune issues, not just allergy immune issues, but autoimmunity as well.
I was watching one of your videos, Pharmacist Ben, and you recommended I guess an antioxidant, I guess it is, called Lomatium. L-O-M-A-T-I-M.
Yeah, that's more medicinal. That's more medicinal and therapeutic than it is nutritional. So I'm talking about strictly nutrients here. Lomatium might help slow up some of the secretions. So that might be something to think about, but that's not really, that's not a nutritional treatment.
Right.
That's more
Okay.
of a medicinal treatment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So quercetin can be found in the anti-aging pack, the Healthy Body Pack, that has the Cell Shield in it, which
Cell
also
Shield
the
is the one I was thinking. Yeah, the Cell Shield.
yeah, the Cell Shield, which
Yes.
the Cell Shield formula is also found in the Ultra Body Toddy, which I absolutely love because you're getting like the tangy tangerine mixed with the Cell Shield joined together. It's just a fantastic product when I'm working with somebody on a budget where they can get some extra cell support and the majority of the 90 essential nutrients.
I think there might be quercetin in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine too, no?
There is some
Yeah.
What is the
Yeah.
name of that again?
Cell Shield RTQ.
Sales.
Yeah, Q for quercetin, R for resveratrol, right? Is it resveratrol?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
another good one too. That's another really nice adaptogen, resveratrol.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Kitty.
All right, thank you, Kitty. So let's go to first question that we had, or one of the questions that we had before. And I'm going to actually start from the bottom of our list, Ben.
Okay.
And Karina would like to know, could you address low white blood cell count? I do a lot to keep my immune system at optimal shape, but my blood tests still show it's low.
What is
And-
what's the most important immune boosting nutrient? Vitamin C.
Vitamin C.
Vitamin C. Zinc is also powerfully immune boosting. In fact, zinc and vitamin C are probably the 2 most important immune boosting nutrients, and everybody should be on those daily. Whether it's from, and we also have a zinc product too. You know, for years I was trying to get him to have a zinc product. Came out a couple years ago now. I think it's called the Zinc FX, right?
Yeah, we have Zinc FX, and then we also have the Ultimate Zinc now, which is a liquid
Right.
tincture
Right. And
that
then
has some adaptogens in it.
and Doc Wallach's favorite supplement, favorite nutrient, I should say, is selenium, and that's also very powerful immune booster. There's a antioxidant system in the body called glutathione, and if you had to pick one immune building strategy, of course, taking vitamin C is probably the most important thing you can do for the immune system. But if you want to pick one immune building strategy, it would be to build glutathione, to take in the building blocks of glutathione. For people who can do whey protein, that's the best way to build your own glutathione is whey protein. If you can't do whey protein, the building blocks, and some people can't, the building blocks of glutathione are 3 amino acids that are found in high protein foods. One is called, who keeps trying to call me here? One is called glutamine. The other is called glycine. And the third is called cysteine. And between those 3, you have the building blocks for building this it's called a tripeptide. It's 3 amino acids. Glutamine is found in high protein foods, and glycine is found in high protein foods. Whey protein is the best, but eggs are also a good source. Fish is also a good source. Meat, of course, is also a good source. And then the third component of this tripeptide is called cysteine. And I've been talking about cysteine for years, and I guess the government finally heard me talking about it because now they want to make it illegal and for you to get cysteine. It's called N-acetyl. Cysteine is actually the amino acid that's found in high protein foods, but supplementing with N-acetylcysteine, and Longevity has N-acetylcysteine. You have to help me with that in a couple products too. Which
Ultra Body Toddy.
the Ultra Body Toddy, and there's one more.
The Daily Digest, I believe, has it as well.
Yeah, and that's because the Daily Digest came out recently, and the folks at Longevity are hip to what's going on in the world, and it was noticed that cysteine in the form of N-acetylcysteine is very protective against viral infections. And the reason it's protective against viral infections is because, of course, it helps you build this immune molecule, immune boosting molecule called glutathione. Then this molecule glutathione, which is made up of these 3 pieces, glycine, glutamine, and cysteine, or N-acetylcysteine, is activated by selenium. So all of these all work together. So making sure you're taking your selenium with your building, with these glutathione building molecules or amino acids is very helpful. And the whole thing is stuck together with the molecule sulfur. So MSM, sulfur, is also very important. And if you're doing whey protein, the reason I like whey protein so much is because you get everything in whey protein. You don't get the selenium as much, but you get everything else in whey protein. And there's a really, that was one of the first protein supplements that Longevity came out with many, many years ago. I don't know if you remember this, Jonty, remember the whey protein that came out back in like 2000 or the late 90s?
I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I used to mix it with peanut butter and a little bit of honey. And
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, this the new one with the Fit, it's called Fit Shake, I think. It's called Fit Shake, right? Fit Shake is a great way to get whey protein. And Fit Shake is really cool because they market it as a weight loss supplement, and it will help you lose weight because it's very filling and very satisfying, and you get a lot of the building nutrients in addition to glutathione building, muscle building, and tissue building. But the Fit Shake is also great for the immune system by virtue of the glutathione building molecules that are found in whey. Remember, whey comes from milk. And milk, one of milk's roles is to build the immune system of a baby. And while milk itself can be a problematic food, the part of the milk that contains all the immune boosters is the whey. So when we talk about whey, milk is made up of 2 major proteins, whey and also another protein called casein. Casein is kind of a gummy protein. It's a little bit complex, and some people react to it. And this is one of the reasons why dairy has such a bad reputation. But the whey part of the milk is liquidy, and people process the whey part much more effectively than they do the casein part. So a lot of people who can't do milk can still do whey. Whey is much easier for the body to process. And in the whey fraction of the milk, you've got all of the immune boosters, all the immune builders. One in particular is called lactoferrin, which you may have heard of, and that's actually been used to treat viral infections. Lactoferrin. So whey is a spectacular immune boosting food, I'll call it. I don't even want to call it a supplement, it's more like a food. And that would be the Fit Shake. And I think there might be a couple other whey protein products too, but the Fit Shake is a good whey protein product.
Yeah, I think the Fit Shake definitely has the most whey in it.
Yeah, we don't talk about the fit shake as much, but you know, you can actually, that's such a powerful product that you could build a company just on the fit shake. That alone is such a powerful product, you know, and we don't really talk about it that much.
Well, and it also has something that you love, and that's the bone broth.
I do love bone broth, and bone broth is another great immune boosting strategy. One of the cool, we were talking about glutathione earlier, all those building molecules for glutathione are found in bone broth. And that's one of the reasons why chicken soup has a reputation for being an immune booster. For, you know, if you have a cold, they call it Jewish penicillin. If they have a cold, they give you chicken soup. Chicken soup has immune boosting properties by virtue of its glutathione building components. So yes, bone broth is very helpful for protein and also for immune boosting.
Awesome. That I love how in depth and broad you are when it comes to addressing a concern. And this concern was building the immune system and improving the white blood cell count. So thank you so much for that. And again, everybody who's on here live with us, if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. We want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered also, not just the ones that have been emailed into us. So let's go to the next question. And Kim is wondering what natural items you suggest. Oh, this is to build the immune system to fight against the pandemic naturally, instead of letting big pharma inject something experimental.
Well, as Jonty was talking about earlier, you know, you might not have a choice, but if you do have a choice, here's some great immune boosting strategies. Probably the number one immune boosting strategy, the number one thing you could do to protect yourself from a viral infection, whether it's this current viral infection or any viral infection, whether it's cold sore viral infection or whether it's the common cold or the flu that comes around every year, whatever it is, whatever kind of viral infection you're talking about, or microbial infection or any kind of infection, you want to boost the immune system. The number one thing you could do is keep your blood sugar down. Don't spike your blood sugar. That's the most important thing to do. If you're having a problem with sugar, there's a couple things to do. First of all, one of the reasons we eat sugar is because we get happy when we eat sugar. There are evolutionary mechanisms built in because we didn't have sugar. We only had sugar for the last, you know, up until 500 years ago, nobody had sugar. And then 500 years ago, they figured out how to grow sugar more effectively. And that's why they came up with slaves. And that's why they came up with the New World. They figured that it was basically for sugar. The history of sugar is really quite fascinating. Up until 500 years ago or 600 years ago, there was no sugar. You were lucky to get a little bit of sugar, a little honey, you know, that was sugar. Only queens and kings got sugar 500 and 600 years ago. So our bodies didn't really evolve to deal with a lot of sugar. So we have mechanisms because you need a little bit of sugar. Sugar is a critical nutrient for cells. So you need a little bit of sugar. So we evolved these mechanisms in our brain to make sure that we're always looking for sugar, that we always find sugar. And when we get sugar, we're very happy. Our brain is very happy. So consequently, when we're sad or when we're depressed or when we're not somehow satisfied with our lives, an easy way to become satisfied, at least for a brief moment, is to have some sugar. And so we eat sugar emotionally. So if that's an issue, at least recognize what's happening and try to hack into your sugar cravings. And one of the neatest ways to hack into your sugar cravings is with protein, because protein gets turned into sugar. But protein gets turned into sugar slowly. It doesn't get turned into sugar fast. In fact, for people who are trying to lose weight and they want to avoid sugar, sometimes they'll do something called the Paleolithic diet, and they'll eat lots of steak and they'll eat lots of hamburgers and eggs and fish and try to get a lot of protein. They won't lose weight because they don't realize that the protein is being turned into sugar. So, and it very effectively. So you can use that mechanism, that protein to sugar biochemistry, by eating small amounts of protein or using amino acids. Specifically, one amino acid called glutamine, which we talked about as being a component of glutathione, is an anti-sugar craving supplement or nutrient. So eating more protein or eating, and not necessarily a lot of protein, but eating more protein and eating glutamine specifically. So how do you get protein and glutamine together? Fit shake. Fit Shake is one of the best ways to hack into your sugar cravings. It has a little bit of sweetness from the stevia, and the protein itself will get broken down. The process is called gluconeogenesis. Gluco means glucose. Neogenesis means new production. Gluconeogenesis is the production of sugar from protein. And so you'll get, your body will get a slow release amount of sugar from the protein, and you get a little bit of sweetness, and you'll get the glutamine, which hacks into the sugar cravings. So that's a great way to lower your sugar if you're trying to build your immune system, or if you're trying to lose weight, or if you're diabetic for that matter. Also, sometimes people will wake up in the middle of the night and they can't go back to sleep, right? And if that happens to you regularly, the chances are good that you are experiencing low blood sugar in the middle of the night. When you experience low blood sugar, the body will secrete stress hormone. That stress hormone will wake you up. And that's what happens in the middle of the night if you're low blood sugar in the middle of the night. But by eating a little Fit Shake or drinking a little Fit Shake before you go to bed, you'll have enough protein that will slowly get converted into sugar throughout the night, and you won't go into this hypoglycemia, this low blood sugar state, and you won't get that cortisol spike, and you won't wake up. So that's a great way to keep yourself, if you're having a problem waking up in the middle of the night, to keep yourself asleep throughout the night, to do a little bit of protein. That's just as an aside. That doesn't really have anything to do with your question about colds and the immune system. But more reducing your sugar and more protein. Of course, vitamin C is also critical for the immune system, and nobody gets enough vitamin C unless they're supplemented. There's no way, and orange juice, contrary to popular belief, oranges and orange juice are not a great source of vitamin C. You maybe get 30 milligrams of vitamin C from an orange if you picked it off the tree and ate it fresh. I don't know what's left in vitamin C is very unstable. I don't know what's left in it when by the time it's been on the shelf at the store for a week or two. And orange juice has got trace amounts of vitamin C. If you want to get vitamin C from food, the best source is probably papaya, and probably the best source is chili peppers, but you got to eat a lot of chili peppers to do that. So it's hard to get vitamin C, high doses of vitamin C from food. People stick like 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C right in their blood. And the recommended daily allowance for it is 100 milligrams. If you're getting your vitamin C from a multiple vitamin or just the standard sources, you're probably way underdosing yourself on vitamin C. Beyond Tangy Tangerine and CFX are both good sources of vitamin C. Zinc is your primary immune building mineral, along with selenium probably is helpful too. Sulfur is also very important. And then the B complex is also important. So the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, probiotics too, forgot about that. We talked about probiotics in the immune system. Your nightly essence, and I love the Daily Digest. That's a really cool product. It's got all your nutritional digestion supplements and packets that you use daily. That's another great strategy for building the immune system. But number one, by far and away, number one is keep your blood sugar stable. Keep your blood sugar low.
And something that a lot of people don't realize, especially for kiddos or people that don't like to swallow, we do have a vitamin C in a chewable form.
That's awesome. Let me say one more thing. The Sweeties, which is marketed for obviously for blood sugar, is also, by virtue of its ability to control blood sugar, will also have benefits for the immune system. And selenium is not only important for the immune system, it also helps you with insulin, has blood sugar benefit, anti-hyperglycemia benefits as well. So selenium, and also niacin, forgot about that one. Do you know niacin is part of something called the glucose tolerance factor? The glucose tolerance factor helps cells utilize sugar more effectively, and it's made up of chromium and niacin. Niacin is a stupendously valuable nutritional supplement. I was very proud, very happy to see a niacin supplement. Longevity had a niacin supplement. It's been out now for a few years, but when it came out, it made me very happy because it's a super important nutritional supplement.
Yes, fantastic. And it has the nattokinase in there also, which is helpful. Tell us a little bit about nattokinase.
Nattokinase. You can tell what nattokinase is by the name. First of all, natto, it comes from natto, which is a fermented soy product. And then kinase is an enzyme. ASC at the end of a word always tells you have an enzyme. Nattokinase is a blood thinner. It's a natural blood thinner. It helps facilitate circulation. It helps improve the blood flow throughout the body. It's actually used as medicine in Asia, I believe, natokinases for the blood. So the number one cause of health challenges, remember, everything, when I say health is simple and understanding disease is simple, what I really mean is it all boils down to just a few basic things. We talked about blood sugar. Probably the most important thing to do is keep your blood sugar low. Another important thing is to keep your blood fluid. As the blood is moving through the body, it's delivering nutrients to all the cells. It's delivering oxygen to all the cells, and it's cleaning out the body. It's detoxifying the body. Everybody wants to know about detox. The best way to detox is to make sure your blood is moving correctly. As we get sicker, as we get older, as the aging process kicks in, as the accumulation of toxicity and the accumulation of, and the body starts to deteriorate, the blood becomes thick and sticky. When the blood becomes thick and sticky, number one, it doesn't deliver nutrients to the cells. Number two, it doesn't deliver oxygen to the cells. Number three, it doesn't detoxify the cells. And number four, because the blood is circulating through the body, it's generating an electrical charge. As the blood becomes sticky and thick, your electricity starts to run down. So sticky blood is another one of his fundamental causes of health challenges and health diseases, and keeping the blood fluid and keep the blood moving effectively is a very, very important health strategy for a lot of things. And when I say it for a lot of things, I mean for everything. It's one of the fundamental things along with blood sugar, and blood sugar itself, elevated blood sugar or dysglycemia, is problematic because it clots the blood. It makes the blood stick. So that's really one of the major mechanisms of damage that high blood sugar has for the body. It makes the blood sticky. So keeping the blood fluidized is really helpful. Nattokinase, it's an enzyme that helps keep the blood fluidized. But guess what? So do the ultimate enzymes. Ultimate enzyme, yes, for the digestive enzymes that we take, for the ultimate enzymes for our digestion, will help fluidize the blood. It will help improve blood circulation. Ultimate EFAs will help fluidize the blood. They help with blood circulation. There was another one I was going to tell you about, the fucoidin, the fucoid Z, helps fluidize the blood. It helps improve blood circulation. Oxygenation helps improve blood circulation. Make sure you're practicing your slow, deep breathing. Jumping up and down on a rebounder, moving your body. You know, you probably heard it said, sitting is the new smoking. Why is sitting the new smoking? Well, smoking contaminates the blood. Smoking causes the blood to clot up. Sitting does the same thing. It keeps the blood it doesn't make the blood stagnant, but it leads to stagnation of the blood. Movement leads to fluidization of the blood. And anything you could do for what's called the lymphatic system. Lymphatic massage, jumping up and down on a rebounder, hanging upside down on an inversion device. The lymphatic system runs parallel to the blood system and is actually part of the circulatory system. We get sick when the circulatory system is stagnant and clotted. And by the way, blood clots and thromboses are also related to stagnant blood. Heart disease is related to stagnant blood. Everything that goes wrong in the body has some connection to dirty blood. On the bright side, we say all disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. Dirty blood, when I say dirty blood, I'm talking about sticky, clotted, stagnant blood. So to answer your question about the nattokinase, ACE is an enzyme. This nattokinase helps dissolve stickiness in the blood, clogs in the blood. Oh, by the way, one of the major places where the blood becomes clogged from is the intestine. When the intestine develops over the course of our lives, as we eat the wrong foods and do the wrong things, the intestines become inflamed. The intestine becomes inflamed, and the intestinal cells start to spread out. Secondary to that inflammation creates leaks. And these leaks of food particles and bacterial toxins from the bacteria in the intestine into the bloodstream are a major cause of disease and distress. You guys, have I said anything complicated yet? This is all just plumbing. This is, if you can understand your toilet, you can understand your body. It really is just a question of clogging and stagnation and clotting and clotting of fluids, and we call it in engineering. I'm not an engineer, but in engineering they call it hemodynamics or fluid dynamics. Fluid dynamics is the study of how fluids move. Hemodynamics is a study of how blood moves. This is all just hemodynamics and fluid dynamics. It's all about the blood and the cells and the intestine and blood sugar. It's just a few basic things. And I'm talking about hidradenitis suppurativa, or I'm talking about fibromyalgia, or I'm talking about psoriasis, and I'm talking about multiple sclerosis, and I'm talking about heart disease and cancer. It's just a few basic things at the bottom of everything. It's just a few basic things. It's the fluids, it's the sugar, it's the digestive system. It's just really simple. Rebecca, if I say anything complicated?
No,
You need a degree
not at all.
a medical degree for?
No, I understand it.
It seems just basically logical. It's nothing.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to school for 8 years and get a degree to understand this stuff.
That's right. That's right. You plug into programs like this, you be a sponge. So like Pharmacist Ben was talking about people who haven't had supplements before. They're a dry sponge. So we need to be a dry sponge when it comes to just absorbing this information so that we can then share and plant seeds with others. And it just, whenever you can plant that seed and give that little light of hope in somebody's life, and then that switch turns on and they start asking questions, it's fabulous. That momentum starts, and you can really feel good about what you're doing when you're building a business with us and Youngevity.
This is the coolest business to be in. It's the coolest business to help change people's lives at this fundamental level. And to become a trusted person in somebody else's lives. People come to see you as a resource. I mean, just like I hope there's aha moments that are happening here for people who are listening. Imagine the aha moments you could give somebody else. Imagine the aha moments you can share with other people. It's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is.
All right.
Let's go to the next hand that's up, Pharmacist Ben. Let's go to the Rodriguez family.
Hello,
I'll
Rodriguez.
go ahead and ask them to unmute.
You get the whole family here?
Well, the whole family, the whole family is, there.
Hello?
We go.
Where's the Rodriguez family? Calling the Rodriguez family.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can't see you though, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yeah, because I'm driving and I'm with my family.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Keep your eyes on the road. What's going on, Mr. Rodriguez?
Yeah, so I went to a doctor and I'm pre-diabetic, hooked on sugars. Anything sweet is like I have to have. Just like my mind's like, oh, you have to eat that to stay awake.
Yeah.
Because I work in the hospital, so it's very busy. I'm always running around.
What do you do?
I'm sorry?
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Rodriguez?
Oh, I'm a phlebotomist.
Oh, okay. Did you like what I was saying about the blood?
Yeah.
Dirty blood. So here's the deal. You need more protein, Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, we pretty much talked about before. A couple things you can do. First of all, a couple hacks you could do. First of all, here's a good hack for energy. I'm going to give you a good. Is that me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so here's a good energy hack. You want a good energy hack? It's called the breath of fire. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to look funny. I'm going to look silly doing it, so don't laugh. But you should just do it in your car when you're driving if you get tired. It's called the breath of fire. You do 2 quick inhales and then an exhale through the mouth. Like that. But you do it like 20 times. And you won't believe the buzz you get from doing that.
I wish I knew about that last night.
It's called the breath of fire. Do it like you could be the demonstration, Rebecca. Do it 4 times. No, hard. When you're blowing out hard, not soft.
Okay, so you're getting more oxygen in, which is going to help clear the brain.
Quickly, you're getting it quickly. And that activates the sympathetic nervous system. That's just a quick energy hack. You can do first thing in the morning. You do it if you wake up from a nap and you're real tired. But you got to do it strong. No, I'm watching people do it. You got these wimpy little out breaths. Come on, people. Yes, no wimpy little out breath.
All right.
Can you feel it? You want to feel it in your head.
I do.
Yes, that's called the breath of fire. I see.
Breath of fire.
I see somebody who just says iPhone on here. This person right here. You don't want to move your head. You don't want to move your head. You don't want to go back and forth like this. A little bit move your head, I guess. Yeah, but try to keep your head still. Like that. Anyway, that's the breath of fire, Mr. Rodriguez. Secondly, for sugar, more protein, and not like to the point where you're completely full on protein, but just increase your protein load. In fact, replace your sugar with protein. Use glutamine powder. You can get glutamine powder straight, or you can get it in the fit shake. But concentrated glutamine is very effective for fat cravings or for sugar cravings. And then also use sugar metabolizing nutrients if you are doing sugar. Sweeties, of course, is very important. Niacin, selenium, we talked about that. And if you fall off the wagon with sugar and you're pre-diabetic, Mr. Rodriguez, you fall off the wagon with sugar. This is for anybody who's diabetic or pre-diabetic, or anybody who's just indulging, especially now with Thanksgiving coming up and then Christmas, and there's a lot of sugar around for these and Halloween, of course. There's a lot of sugar around. After you indulge in sugar, drink a lot of water. The water will dilute your blood sugar. So it will reduce the concentration of sugar in the blood as you liquefy the blood. So drink a lot of water after if you have pancakes with syrup or whatever, dessert or a lot of candy or whatever it is that raises your blood sugar. And Mr. Rodriguez, after you have those, if you still have your sugar cravings, after you have your sugar, drink a lot of water. That will dilute your blood sugar. And then also exercise will dilute your blood sugar. So after you have a sugary meal or first thing in the morning for diabetics, sometimes their sugar's high, do some movement. That will force the sugar out of your blood into the muscle. So that's another strategy. Thirdly, or fourthly, is fiber is a great way to reduce the impact of sugar on the body and to reduce sugar cravings because you'll be full. Fiber is a great satiety-inducing substance. It fills you up. I do when I can't. I probably told you this before, but I'll say it again. If I want to do breakfast, if I'm hungry first in the morning, but I don't have time to make breakfast, I want a quick breakfast. I take 30 grams of flax seeds. I grind them up in a coffee grinder, and until they're a fine powder, and I mix them in with some water and I stir it around. You got to do it slowly because it'll clump up, but you just add water slowly and stir it around. Sometimes I'll put a little cinnamon in there, and then you drink that down. That's extremely filling for you, number one. It's obviously fiber. It's almost pure fiber, not pure fiber. It's a lot of fiber, and it's great for your digestive system. It's great for your gut bacteria. And bonus, it's a wonderful source of protein. In fact, 30 grams, an ounce of flax seeds is about as much protein as an egg. And so it's ideal for vegans, and it's no muss, no fuss. It's real quick. It's tasty. You can do it in 5 minutes and only one dish to wash, not even really much washing to do. So, and it's a great source of vitamin E, and it's a great source of plant nutrients, adaptogens and such, magnesium. It's just a wonderful, incredible, easy to make meal. And it's great for filling up if you're afraid that you're going to eat a lot of sugar during the day, or you're going to eat a lot of sugar at a party, or if you're going to go out to dinner, you're going to have sugar, or even have a lot of food. Do it before you go out to dinner. It's a great anti-food or food reducing, satiety inducing beverage, I guess you call it.
That's awesome. Mr. Rodriguez, did you have any questions or response to that?
No, just that it's funny because every time I eat like something sugary,
Yeah.
like right away my body craves the water. So
That's
I'll start
right.
drinking a lot of water, and I'm like, oh, I'm drinking a bunch of water.
Good for you. Yeah, your body is telling you that you need to start fluidizing the blood to dilute that sugar. That's awesome, Mr. Rodriguez. That's your body talking to you. It's exactly what you want to do.
Okay, and then I had another question. I get like I'll come home, from work. Of course, I'm tired, but it's not that simple tired. It's more of a fatigue tired. That
What do you mean, like mental fatigue?
Just tired. Like my whole body just feels like just tired, fatigue. I'll take a nap, and I'll tell myself, all right, take a 15-minute nap, and that 15-minute nap will turn into like a 30 or 40-minute to an hour nap.
You are experiencing, you're starting to experience what happens when your body doesn't handle sugar correctly. Let me explain how this happens. When we eat sugar, it's like a 4-alarm fire in the body or 5-alarm fire in the body. Sugar is super high energy. It burns hot. So the body has evolved the system for getting rid of the sugar. And that system is your insulin. The insulin's job is to take the sugar out of the blood so your blood doesn't burn, basically. Not just the blood, but the organs don't burn. Literally, the organs will burn from sugar. That's called glycation. Some of you may have heard of a hemoglobin A1C test. The hemoglobin A1C test is a glycation test to see how fast you're burning. Your blood vessels burn, the blood vessels in the extremities, the capillaries and the fingers and the toes burn, the eyes burn. That's why diabetes is such a big problem. It causes tissues to burn when you don't handle your sugar correctly. So fortunately, the body has insulin, and insulin's main job, insulin has a few jobs, but its main job is to pull sugar out of the blood and put it into the cells. However, after we do this, we eat sugar a lot, insulin doesn't work as well. The cells stop listening to insulin. You may have heard the term insulin resistance. So the body will then put more insulin out, and it keeps putting more insulin out, and eventually become resistant to that, puts more insulin out. At the pre-diabetic stage, Mr. Rodriguez, you're at a stage where insulin is coming out really fast and really hard. It's really hot and heavy with insulin because you got so much sugar going in there. That means, Mr. Rodriguez, every time you eat sugar, your insulin system is hypersensitive to that sugar, and it pulls the sugar out of your blood. Guess what happens when the sugar is all pulled out of your blood? You feel tired. So of course you'll get more sugar. And then the same thing happens over and over again. So you have to resensitize your body to insulin. And the only way to do this, this will change your life, Mr. Rodriguez, if you do this. This will absolutely change your life, is to lay off of sugar for 3 days. Take a weekend. Have your wife just give you TLC for 3 days. Instead of the sugar, have TLC. Tell her it's doctor's orders or pharmacist orders. That you have to have TLC. She has to take max on the TLC for you for 3 days because you're not going to have sugar. You follow me, Mr. Rodriguez? Are you there? Is he there?
He's still here. I just muted him because of background noise.
Okay, so at the end,
yeah, I'm listening to. Yes, I understand.
Okay, you tell your wife, pharmacist orders, she's got to give you TLC for 3 days, and those 3 days you're not going to have any sugar, none, zero tolerance, no bread. By the way, bread, pasta, rice, cereal, all of these are like sugar. All these get broken down quickly into sugar. Certainly no candy cake and sweets and soda pop and all that stuff. You're going to feel, you're going to go through sugar withdrawal. You're going to be tired. Have a hard-boiled egg. Have some Fit Shake. Have protein. And then have your wife just give you some TLC. At the end of those 3 days, what's going to happen is you reset and resensitize your body to the sugar. And what's going to happen is as soon as you have a little bit of sugar, your body is going to react like you had a lot of sugar. A little bit of sugar at the end of 3 days is going to be the equivalent of a lot of sugar before the 3 days. Follow me? And so, yes. Okay, so go on a sugar fast for 3 days, but it's going to be very important because you're going to feel crappy. So it's very important that you're in bed or you're relaxed, you're not stressed out, you're not working, you're getting TLC, all of that. And liquid protein, Fit Shake or soup, bone broth or chicken soup, some source of liquid protein will get you slow release sugar. So that will keep your insulin from jumping out and becoming so hypersensitive. At the end of 3 days, you're going to reset your body. And for anybody who's a diabetic and pre-diabetic, please understand that aside from the long-term damage, and there is some long-term damage depending on how long you've been a diabetic, aside from that, you can reset your blood sugar system in a matter of days. In a matter of days, you can reset your blood sugar system and you will no longer be a diabetic. Now, I said there's damage that's caused by dysglycemia, so you're not going to correct that in 3 days, but you can recalibrate your blood sugar system in a matter of days. Nobody has to be condemned to this, and Mr. Rodriguez, you can be a new man in 3 days. And don't forget your sweeties too, by the way. Okay?
Awesome. Okay, so the next question is, you're going to love this. So can the body actually heal itself of any abnormality or disease? And Pharmacist Ben, would you agree that peace and the reduction of stress are very important in this process also?
What was you said teeth? I didn't hear what you said.
Peace.
Oh my
Peace.
goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Under conditions of duress, our immune system shuts down. Under conditions of duress, you're more prone towards infection, you're more prone towards disease, your body stops repairing. Under conditions of duress, your digestive system doesn't work effectively. Under conditions of duress, your thyroid doesn't work as effectively. Under conditions of duress, the blood flow goes from the front of your brain where you make good decisions to the back of your brain where you're freaked out. Under conditions of duress, everything is messed up. So yes, absolutely. Learning to understand, to relax. You know, we talk physically all the time, but there's a spiritual component here that's really important. Understanding that there's a bigger picture, and you can call it God, or you can call it Buddha or Jesus or divine intelligence or whatever you want to call it. But understand that we're part of a big thing here. We're like, drops of water in an ocean. And while we live our lives as drops of water, to say that we're just people and we're not the ocean is like the drop of water in the ocean saying, I'm just a drop and I'm not the ocean. Well, yeah, you're a drop, but you're also an ocean. And so understanding our connection to this big picture that's everything is really important. You know, if you look in the dictionary or under fears, you'll see there's a lot of phobias, fears. There's agoraphobia, fear of crowds. There's fear of heights. There's fear of spiders. There's fear of snakes. There's fear of death. There's fear of public speaking. There's actually a fear of peanut butter getting stuck in the roof of your mouth. There's fear of all these fears, but there's only really one fear. All these fears have only one fear underneath them all, and that's the fear of the unknown. That's the only thing we freak out about is when we don't know something. Think about everything you're afraid of. It's because you don't know what's going to happen. Human beings need to know. We need a sense of certainty. When you don't know something, that's when we get scared. That's when the cortisol system kicks in. That's when our stress system kicks in. Being connected to everything as one with everything, it means you're now familiar. You have a sense of connection. It's not unknown anymore. In the Bible, they actually say to know somebody in the Bible says Adam knew Eve. When they had intercourse, Adam knew Eve. That means to know something is to connect with it, is to become one with it. So when we know that we're part of this big picture, it relaxes you. There's nothing that can go wrong, really. You're connected. There's nothing to fear. And so there is an element of spirituality that's really important when it comes to physical health and physical well-being. When you feel connected to God, the force, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it gives you a sense of certainty. It reduces the mystery. It reduces the unknown. It reduces the sense that there's something out to get me. Look at the world today. We are all, present company excluded perhaps, but for most people, we're freaked out about what's going on in the world. Why? Because we don't know. We don't know when the thing is going to attack us. We don't know when the government is going to make us do something. There's so much unknown. There's so much uncertainty in the world. And that is really what the problem, to me, what I see, how the world seems like it's being turned upside down, is because there's this sense of unknown. And that's what spikes fear, and that's what makes you ultimately sick. So relaxing into a sense of oneness, a sense of connection, a sense of there's something here that we're part of that's bigger than us is one of the coolest things you could ever do. And that's why I talk about meditation so much. That's what the best thing you could possibly do for your health. Meditation is the best medication. By meditation, I'm talking about sitting still and feeling your connection to the universe. And that means when you listen, this is the simplest thing to do to meditate. Listen to the sounds that are in the air, that are in the environment, whether it's the air conditioner, whether it's the car, the traffic outside, or whether it's your kids screaming. Just listen to the sounds and realize that those sounds are not out there. This is what happens when you meditate. You realize the sounds are not out there, they're in here. Everything in your life is in here. It's not out there. It's all in here. And who controls what's in here? You do. We do. We control what's in here. So it's not about the boogeyman coming out to get us. It's about controlling what's in here. And yes, relaxing and having a sense of peace, having a feeling like you're part of something bigger in the world, like you have control over your body if you wanted to be strictly physical about it. That's so important for good health. There's no way you could be healthy if you're in fear mode. And Dr. Herbert Benson was a Harvard-trained physician, and he talked about this in a book called The Relaxation Response, which is a classic about relaxation. He wrote about it in the early 1970s, I think, or maybe the late 60s. And he had to say at the time, he said, meditate on the word one, O-N-E, Just say one, meaning everything is just one. And he was a doctor. He was not a spiritual guru or, new age hippie. He was a Harvard doctor. And he talked about meditating on the word one to lower your blood pressure, to build your immune system, to speed recovery from surgeries. Absolutely. And as far as the body healing itself, the minute you stop smoking a cigarette, your lungs start to heal. Between cigarettes, your lungs are starting to heal. As soon as you stop putting the processed food in your body starts to heal. Now, it may take you years for your body to completely heal, depending on how much you've been damaging the body. But immediately, when you stop doing the bad stuff, your body's healing system will kick in if you allow it to, if it has the resources to do it, and if the cortisol system has not been activated to the point where your body is not in growth mode. So if you do everything correctly, your body can start to heal immediately as soon as the offending agent is removed, if you're doing everything correctly. It may take you a couple years, may take you 5 years, may take you 10 years to completely recover, but immediately the recovery process will begin.
Fantastic. And something that you had mentioned, which Martin had a question earlier in regards to blood pressure, and his blood pressure is not coming down.
Yes.
That meditation and can be a huge contributing factor.
Absolutely. One of the fastest ways to lower your blood pressure, and one of the easiest ways to lower your blood pressure is to take a warm bath. That will lower your blood pressure so much that when you stand up, you may get dizzy because your blood pressure is so. You ever experience this in a hot tub? You stand up and out of a hot tub, you feel a little woozy and dead. That's because your blood pressure has dropped so much. In fact, they tell you to be careful if you're on antihypertensives, to be careful of hot tubs because your blood pressure is being dropped mechanically or pharmaceutically with the drug. And now you, in a hot tub, you increase the blood pressure drop. And now you have your blood pressure has dropped so significantly that now you can't get blood to your brain, you get dizzy. So taking a warm bath is one of the fastest ways to lower your blood pressure. It's one of the fastest ways to lower your cortisol. Muscle relaxation will lower your cortisol too, by the way. Facial muscles, we hold a lot of attention in our faces. Just relaxing your face will have an antihypertensive effect. As far as nutrients go, magnesium, niacin, the nightly acid probiotics, vitamin C, the B complex, niacin, all of these have wonderful antihypertensive effects.
Awesome. Let's
get one
more question in. Yeah,
Yes.
Let's get one more question in before we get to a little more of the business side of it. So Jasmina says that I have low stomach acid and low iron. What can I do to make sure that I always have optimal stomach acid levels?
Ultimate Enzymes have an ingredient in there called betaine HCl. Betaine HCl is one of the great underappreciated nutritional supplements for a lot of reasons. Betaine is great for people who have MTHFR deficiency. Betaine is a great methylating agent. Betaine has relevance for cardiovascular health, but the HCl part is hydrochloric acid. And so betaine HCl, the Ultimate Enzymes, is a great way to get your hydrochloric acid levels up. You can also do apple cider vinegar with your meals. I've always talked about that. That's a great way to get your acid levels, stomach acid, drop the stomach pH, if you will. And you always want to have a little bit of acid in your stomach to activate those enzymes. The betaine HCl will help too. You can also, if worst comes to worst, you can have a pharmacist make hydrochloric acid drops for you, and then take a couple drops, put them in water and drink them down with your meals. And then there's also foods that you can take that stimulate digestive juices. Things like dandelion greens, radishes, arugula, parsley, all of these kinds of things that have a sort of bitter taste to them. A lot of cultures will do these bitter kinds of foods before meals to stimulate digestive juices. You can also get something called Swedish bitters, which is a digestive juice stimulating supplement. These, when I say digestive juices, not just acid, it's also bile, and it's also something called gastrin, which is a chemical that's produced out of the stomach that helps you digest your food. So anything that has a bitter taste to it if you start your meals off with that. That can help you with digestive juices as well as stomach acid, and then apple cider vinegar, betaine HCl from your ultimate enzymes, and then if worse comes to worse, as I say, hydrochloric acid drops.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And also,
Okay.
you like Himalayan salt, where you're
Love
getting the
Himalayan salt.
minerals.
Love Himalayan
That
salt.
helps also.
You know, are you thinking about the chloride in there? Is that what you're
I
thinking?
think about, the chloride and just,
Chloride is part of hydrochloric acid, absolutely. And also zinc, you reminded me, zinc can help stimulate some hydrochloric acid and also digestive juices in general. Zinc is another one of those great underappreciated nutritional supplements. And low stomach acid is more
Awesome.
common than people think. You're in good company there. I used to work in nursing homes as a pharmacist, and it's funny because everybody in nursing homes is on antacid drugs. And in fact, antacid drugs are the #1 over-the-counter drug, or antacid drugs. Every year before Zantac and Tagamet, which are prescription antacid drugs, came out, every year they'd be the #1 and #2 drugs. It's like we have an epidemic, you would think, of people making too much acid, which is crazy. As we get older, you don't make too much of anything. As you get older, everything is suppressed. And so the problem isn't too much acid, it's too little acid. There's a really cool book, if anybody wants to read a cool book by Dr. Jonathan Wright called Why Stomach Acid is Good for You. And it's all about the misunderstanding of stomach acid, how we think we're making too much stomach acid when the real problem is we're not making enough. So if you're not making enough stomach acid, by the way, not only are you not going to be activating your enzymes, not only are you not going to be able to get minerals, get the benefits of minerals, because minerals require acid, not only are you going to be able to digest your protein, leading to toxicity in the intestine and autoimmune diseases and wreaking all kinds of health havoc, but you're also going to be more susceptible to microbial infections and foodborne illnesses, because acid is supposed to kill all these things. So low stomach acid is a huge problem. And even if you don't know you have low stomach acid, using your ultimate enzymes, just use them. As I said earlier, ultimate enzymes are not just good for digestion, they're good for a whole bunch of things, including pain and blood clots and bruises and post-surgical healing. But for digestion, they're a must, and you get the betaine HCl for stomach acid too. All right, I got to do another video at 3:30 here, my dear Rebecca. So
all right. Well,
very nice.
thank you so much, Pharmacist Ben. We are going to go ahead and go into the whole business thinking side of it. I know you have to go, but before you go, Pharmacist Ben.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. If anybody needs me to be involved in a 3-way call with you guys, I'm happy to do it. Especially if you have a healthcare professional that you want to talk to them about longevity or the longevity business. And healthcare professionals can really do well. They can really, from a business standpoint, this is an ideal business opportunity for healthcare professionals, not just doctors, but massage therapists, acupuncturists, herbalists, even alternative kinds of practitioners. This is an ideal business opportunity. And because I've been doing this for so long, and I love chemistry so much, and I understand a lot about nutrition, I can really help you if you're having a hard time with a healthcare professional who's asking you questions that you can't answer, or who's interested but you don't really know how to talk to them. I love talking to healthcare professionals, but anybody really, anybody you want me to help you out with, I'm happy to do so.
And that's perfect, Pharmacist Ben, because that really leads into the topic of advanced team building. So thank you so much for being part of our tribe.
And we'll see you next month. And thank you, Rebecca, for everything.
All right.
Thanks, Jonty. Good to see you.
Yes.
Call us later, Jonty.
You're welcome.
Absolutely, real soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now. Now, Jonty, share with us about advanced team building. What is that?
Well, I've been in this business for quite a long time now, and I've sort of seen different strategies that people use, and the main thing that folks tend to push is the idea of replication. They say, what you need to do is set yourself up as a business, and then teach other people to set themselves up as a business. And just having been in small businesses most of my life, I just sort of saw an innate inefficiency there. which is to say that if any one person tries to wear all of the various hats necessary to run a business, it's going to be extremely challenging, and extremely challenging as well to train other people to replicate that same process. It creates a very high barrier of entry. And it also puts any new distributor in the position of having to recreate all of the same things that their upline distributors have already created. So, so I put together a little video to give people ideas about ways of building a team and thinking about the business as a team in the way that you and I do, Rebecca, in partnership with Ben and George Norrie and Michael Swirling and a whole association of different people. What we do is we all have different jobs, different skill sets, and then we create assets for our business that we then share with each other. So we create ways of some of us are, like Ben Fuchs is a content matter expert. He is a fantastic presenter. He can express the message in a really articulate, wonderful way. But he's not alone. He doesn't have to do everything. He doesn't necessarily book the engagements that he ends up on. He doesn't necessarily negotiate the partnerships with various people like George Norrie. And then when the work that we do there creates a deluge of emails and phone calls, there's a whole team of folks that help to answer those. And so there's a bunch of little different niche roles. I actually lay all of this out in a video that any of you are welcome to go and check out on our
I'm pulling it
website.
up.
Oh, no, I beat you to it. On a website I put together to support our team, but also just to support all teams that are trying to succeed in this business. So in a nutshell, that's the concept of advanced team building. You can get creative with it. So somebody that's good at tech, maybe somebody that really loves the products and knows the products very well, like you, Rebecca, for instance. That you can get folks who have had a very positive experience with the products that can become spokespeople. And then it's very useful to have somebody has an audience. You can partner with a variety of different people who have some kind of an audience, because you run out of cousins and friends to talk to. If you're really going to build a successful business in the long term, then you want to try and create a partnership with a successful YouTube channel or a radio show or whoever it is that is speaking to a couple thousand people or a couple 100,000 people instead of their immediate family and friends. And that's what we've done with Critical Health News, and it's really been a wonderful success. And so I just wanted to take some of these concepts and break them down into a sort of tangible, digestible format. And I'd invite any of you that are interested in the business to take a look at the link that I just posted in the chat there. And let Rebecca and me know if you have any questions or ideas or anything like that.
Yeah, so think about it, people, when you're working on your lists and trying to figure out, who can I share this with? Who do you know that has computer skills? Who do you know that's in the medical field that might be open to additional information? And we have so many resources available that you don't have to do all the talking. Find a video. And Critical Health News. You go to the YouTube channel, and there are so many, or even criticalhealthnews.com, so many videos there that you can use as a resource to reach so many different people. One video is not going to do it for everybody, but go through those and look at those videos and think as you're listening or watching, make a list, make your list. And, say, okay, this video is going to be perfect for sharing with this person or this person. And say, hey, I'm building a team. I would love to have you part of it. I know that this area really can speak to you. And it's one of your strengths that we can use to help you build an additional income stream. And Jonty, I mean, I think it's fabulous what you've created and what I'm honored to be a part of. And everybody can do this. And you don't have to know every single thing about, having an online business, because you use the skills and the resources that other people have and work together as a team to build it. So just something for everybody to think about. And again, go to that link that Jonty provided, which is sunpoweredproductions.com/network-marketers. And you can get some more information about this concept and how you can put it to work for you in building a successful home business. Anything you want to add, Jonty?
I think that's fantastic, Rebecca. And thanks for giving an opportunity to mention that.
Yeah, I think there's such a unique dynamic to the concept of advanced team building. And because I tried doing it all on my own, and there's just not enough minutes in the day and have time for your family. So when it works together, it makes for a very nice system. So I appreciate the work that you've put into making this available for other people to gain information about it as well. So, all right, everybody. So I just want to thank Lance, who helped with co-hosting and getting everybody in and getting some information to people. Jonty, of course, you're my favorite webmaster. You're my favorite technical guru in the world. I appreciate you and love you like a brother. And all of you that are on with us today, I mean, the fact that you took time out of your busy schedules to gain additional information that you can use then to go out and share with others is so admirable. I mean, there's such a purpose here, and we hope that you grasp onto that purpose and run with it. So until next time, for Q&A with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, Rebecca Kozak, and Jonty McCollier, have a fabulous, fabulous fall season. Bye for now.